so dehydrated and I was like so sick. And then I went to the doctor and they were telling me, they're like, don't even go to urgent care because you're going to pay so much for an IV of fluids. And they're like, if you like know any way to do it, or they're like, she was like, we can't do them at urgent care. You have to go to like the ER. And it was like a whole thing. And then I like texted you. I was like, can I just do this? And it was amazing.
Can't do this. I have to either take a leap of faith or I have to stop doing this. Did not have a house. We didn't know where we were going to live. We literally pulled up into the state and found a house to rent because the waits were too long and the hospitals were too crowded. And I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people. I've couldn't even put into words what that period of my life was like. Teaches them to not always look at somebody else for what should I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like navigating through those decisions as opposed to your parents being like, you're done with high school, you're going to college.
All right, well, welcome back to the Best for Your Nest podcast, sponsored by Owl Roofing. I'm Bia, and we are joined by Lisseth today. And thank you for coming. She's the founder of Dynamic Drips, resident of Shoreview. And we're just going to chat all things mom life. She's got 3 biological kids, 4 stepkids, a huge family, so we've got a lot to ask her. And just navigating all that, growing a business, being a nurse, being a mom, everything. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself and starting Dynamic Drips.
Well, I grew up in Minnesota. My family came here actually from the country of Panama when I was young,
so cool.
Elementary age, but most of my life has been here. I have been working as a nurse. I worked in emergency medicine and vascular access and pediatric emergency medicine for about 15 years. And then I started Dynamic Drips to give the community a resource, a medical resource, and something that could be beneficial, that can be preventative, that can be acute care, and that is trusted and valuable, that is convenient as well. So
I've used Dynamic Drips a lot. I think I had my first time when I was pregnant. I went to Miami. I got like so sunburned. I remember texting you because my husband does this stuff and like uses it, but I was always like, oh, whatever. Yeah. And I texted you, I was like, I'm this far along pregnant. Can I get an IV? Because I was so sunburned. I was like, I think that I am like so dehydrated. And I was like so sick. And then I went to the doctor and they were telling me, they're like, don't even go to urgent care because you're going to pay so much for an IV of fluids. And they're like, if you like know any way to do it, or they were like, she was like, we can't do them at urgent care. You have to go to like the ER. And it was like a whole thing. And then I like texted you. I was like, can I just do this? And it was amazing. So,
good.
Yeah.
So IVs could be adjusted to people's needs, or do you make an assessment, or can I call you and make a suggestion?
We do. So both. So we definitely look at how are you feeling? What are your symptoms? What are your goals too? Are you trying to combat fatigue? Are you trying to combat the feeling of being stressed? Do you need to sleep better? What are your needs as a person? We have 12 options for infusions that are all fluids and vitamins. So literally things that are either made in your body naturally or that you find in the foods that you eat every day, but that your body needs to function, that your cells need to function. And so we take a full health history, take a full set of vital signs, and then work with you to choose which option is best for you. And then we have lots of different things we can add on as well, like pregnant mamas we see all the time that are nauseated. We can give nausea meds and fluids in home. So just dependent upon what your needs are and how you're feeling, we choose what's right for you.
Oh, so cool. And is there an office to come to, or could you ever come to our homes?
We are totally mobile. So we do have a headquarters, an office space in Arden Hills that we can see patients at if they prefer that. But the convenience of a registered nurse literally coming right to your house is golden. And we are mobile in a sense of anywhere, really, not just your home, but we have a lot of ladies that are starting to double team their time. So when you're getting your nails done or getting your hair done and you're sitting there for an hour anyways, or you're getting a massage and your masseuse is saying, stay hydrated, make sure you stay hydrated. We have people that are hooked up to an IV during something else in their life because no one has enough time. And then we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. which is pretty cool.
genius.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
I had no
crazy.
idea.
Yeah.
Do you go to workplaces a lot?
We do. We do a lot of employee wellness. It's funny right now, it's tax season. And we have a few different groups of like lawyers and tax accountants that are like, we need hippie drippies for the whole office.
gosh.
So we do
That's
different groups
fascinating.
of employees as well. And that to me is so valuable because sick days and call-ins and staffing.
You can't.
If you are taking care of your body from the inside out, you're going to be more mentally clear during your workday. You're going to be less fatigued. You're going to get sick less often.
Yeah.
And in turn, be a better employee for your company.
Yeah.
Oh, for
So
sure.
it's like, and I feel like people kind of almost view it as like a luxury in a way, but then I think making it approachable where you're like, oh, I can do this at work,
Yeah,
or I don't have to
simple
like
resource.
go, or sometimes it feels either luxury or like sterile where you're like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I'm not going to go to the ER because I'm tired. Like that feels
Yep,
dramatic.
like that's
so
silly.
I think that being able to like meet people where they're at has been
And
so.
think about your cream, the construction workers. They're out in the sun
yeah.
all day.
for
Yeah.
They're wearing layers of clothing. They're losing fluid. And it's like you said, it's not a luxury, it's maintenance. And
Yeah.
it's just literally self-care. And
Yeah.
it's like you're drinking the right amount of fluids and
Yeah.
you're eating the right amount of healthy foods because no one only eats the nutrient-dense
Yeah.
things. 'Cause
Yep.
That's not that fun.
You sound very entrepreneurial minded to me.
Try.
Was that something you inherited from either of your parents, or who supported your business growth, and how did you get here today?
I think that I've always had a little bit of that in me. I've always been a go-getter. I've always been a doer. My mother was in the medical field, so that definitely came from her. But there isn't a lot of entrepreneurship in my family. I think that, I went into this because I care about it. And I think that is a huge driving force. And it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the success. It was about providing a resource for all of these patients that I had seen in the ER that literally just need fluids. And kiddos, like moms, you think about, you've got a couple little ones. If you are not feeling well or your husband's not feeling well or your kid is not feeling well, to pull the whole family and go to the ER where you're spending 6 hours of your life and you're exposed to all these things that you weren't feeling well in the first place. You shouldn't be going into a petri dish and putting your kids in the way of all that while you also can't get dinner made then. And you've got laundry backed up. It's like the convenience of serving people where they're at and providing that resource where they're at to help them feel better is huge. So
That's amazing.
yeah, I think honestly the spirit of the entrepreneur and the success has come with every single appointment I've done. I think every time I've gone into a house, even from the very beginning, when it was just me and I was seeing patients, you see literally people feel better in front of your eyes and you see the appreciation, and that fulfillment is not necessarily there in healthcare, especially in the ER. You see people on the worst day of their life and you're like, hello, and they're like, good, get out. And, and rightfully so. They just, they just got crashed into by someone. They just came down with a migraine and can't go to work that day. They have every reason to be stressed. But when you can provide something that helps them and takes away the stress of them having to go in somewhere, that's huge. So I think all of that has driven just the continue, like we just got to keep going and just make it better as we go.
That's awesome to hear that you care for people so well.
Yeah.
What would you say self-care looks like in your life for you personally? Do
Well,
you get
I
time
think
to
I
do
should
that?
probably practice what I preach a little more than I do. But I think that it has changed and molded, and I've learned a lot with being a nurse in the first place. Anyone that's ever worked night shift knows the vast fatigue and the inability to focus and that you're losing days of your life because you just don't have the energy in you. I see it to be so beneficial to just simply take care of yourself, whether that's drinking the right amount of water, getting the right amount of sleep. There's just so much benefit in the little things. I think that I've learned a ton in the self-care space. I think that just time management too, from the business standpoint, you have to manage how much you're overloading your brain with at a time too. And so I think that in this journey, I've come to see self-care very differently. And so for me, honestly, it's about balance too, with motherhood and with business and with being a wife and being all the things, balancing that and not overwhelming yourself. And then at the same time, taking care of yourself, doing the little things.
Was there any point in your motherhood where you were able or chose to stay home? or were you always?
I've always been working.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually graduated high school 6 months pregnant with my oldest. And I will say though, like the reason why for the drive, that motherhood puts a whole new perspective on how hard you can work because someone else depends on you. And so I went through college as a mom, had 3 jobs the whole time I was in college as a mom.
Amazing.
Had my little baby boy in his car seat under the desk in the back of the auditorium because I had to do it. So I've always worked. I've always had jobs. I've been strategic. I worked, I nannied for a couple summers. I worked in a child center at the fitness place that I was a member of, so I could take my baby with and I could still get the free memberships to get the workouts in. So I've been a little bit strategic in my work journey, but I have worked every day of my life since becoming a mom.
That's pretty amazing.
I don't know. And then you're taking care of people at work. You're being you're taking care of people everywhere that you go. And then you moved to New York during COVID.
Yeah, I went. I was in New York for a 13-week contract, and that was something that wasn't super planned. The pandemic happened and COVID happened, and I actually got a call from one of the previous charge nurses from the U of M that I worked with like 10 years prior to that. And I was interested in the pandemic response and the care when Ebola was supposed to come. And it never did.
Yep.
So that was like my initial interest. My mom's a PA, and she has taken groups of students to Africa to serve communities that don't have resources. And she's always been in the mix of doing bigger things. And I talked about being on a pandemic response team with Ebola. And so when that nurse reached out to me, I was like, all right, I guess we're doing this. I was supposed to go to California. I found out I bought a house, and it was just me and my 3 kids at the time. So I sold my house, moved, got a phone call 3 days after I closed on my home, and then left 8 days later. So I had been in my new house for 11 days. I've never unpacked and decorated so quick in my life. I was like, this is going to be a home. My kids are going to have a home. And then I went to New York, and I was at the worst hospital in the nation, in Queens.
Wow.
And working, it was like a well-oiled machine, and nothing was open. New York was, I stayed in Jersey City, and I drove through Little Italy and Chinatown. And there gates down, like not a person, like napkins floating, like not a human. Crazy. And went to like Madison Square Garden. I went to all of like the big places by myself, like my little gaps of time I had off. And so I really would love to go see New York as it's supposed to be, because such a small percentage of the world saw it the way I did. But I also saw the need in the medical field for what I do now, where you're just seeing person after person after person just needing a little bit of care, and not being able to get it because the waits were too long and the hospitals were too crowded. And I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people. I've couldn't even put into words what that period of my life was like. But that is when I started to build Dynamic Drips.
I was going to say, so did that kind of
I thought about doing this exact same thing probably 12 years ago, and it was all hangovers. It was all like the Wild West, like Vegas, Miami, like meet me in the back alley, I'll hook you up, you'll feel good. Like it was just this space of not necessarily medical care or self-care. And then it started to creep into more of a wellness space, more of a necessity space. And that's when I found that out when I was in New York. I drove home. I wasn't supposed to because I couldn't fly because of the exposure. But I drove home 18 hours. I had this gap where they were renegotiating our contracts and our hours. And it was my daughter's birthday. And I was like, I can't do it. I can't be 1,200 miles away. And my dad, no, I'm going to cry. Stop making me cry. And I could not. I was like, I can't. I have a gap. I can't FaceTime my kid on her birthday when I could be there. And so I drove. My kids had no idea I was coming home. And I drove 18 hours. And I spent like 8 hours with my kids, celebrated her birthday, surprised them, and hung out with them for a little while. And then I had to go back. And I actually ran into, in that literal 8 hours of time, I ran into a friend of mine that knew that I had thought about this previously, and she was like, that IV stuff, it's making its way into the wellness space, like you should go for it. And I just started looking and started digging, and then literally like the website was built. I was in New York for 13 weeks, and then I was in I got to come home for a little while, and then I was in Michigan, and I was driving. I mean, I was working like 4 or 5 12-hour shifts, and then I was driving 8 hours home and spending 4 or 5 days with my kids, and then going back. And then I was in Florida for a period of time where I was flying them to Florida for my days off. And in that time, the website was built and all the things were put into place. And I came back home to my job at Children's Hospital and kind of finished everything and sealed it all and started doing the IVs. And
Crazy.
now here we are.
And you've got how many people on the team?
We have 35 nurses, just expanded to California and Arizona. So
Amazing.
we
Look
service
at you.
Minnesota, Wisconsin, California, and Arizona.
I'm gunning for you in Texas.
Yeah, and Texas. We're actually active and able to practice in Texas.
Okay.
We just have to get some nurses, and I'm trying to kind of tie up the process with the other states, like make it pretty with a bow, and then we can pick it up and put it anywhere.
Cool.
But yeah, so the bulk of our nurses are in Minnesota. We just expanded to the other states.
That's awesome.
We've been servicing Wisconsin for a few years, but
Okay.
yeah, but it's awesome. It's
Do you
crazy.
oversee them from afar, or do you actually have to visit?
So I'm
clinics
getting on a plane at 9 a.m. to go to California tomorrow.
Okay.
But just for 36 hours, I'm going. I've got some meetings. I've got an event, and then I'm coming back. And then I'm doing the same in Arizona. So I'll be back and forth for a little while. But the plan is to have somebody regionally managing those places that's in that space so that we can really grow it and make it an awesome thing like it is here. I did not plan that though. I started doing it myself. I didn't even know I was going to have a second nurse. There was no like, hey, let's make this big gigantic company. I just started doing it, and you'd go into houses and people are like, oh, my sister's a nurse. This person's a nurse. And I got to where I was working like 56 hours a week in the ER at Children's for the first year and a half of the business. And I had, I think, like 5 or 6 nurses working for me at that time. And we weren't crazy busy.
Can't even imagine
I
this
know.
story.
I talk about it and I'm like, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, she had a lot of hydration.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. I was mentally clear and ready to go, I guess. I don't know.
So give this to your employees.
Yeah. And then I was like, I can't do this. I have to either take a leap of faith or I have to stop doing this. And I couldn't say that I couldn't give myself reason to stop doing this part of it. So I took a leap of faith, and it literally just skyrocketed. And now we're where we are. We've got 35 nurses. We do over 200 events a year. We see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of patients in a month, and we're the only company in the state that can see kiddos. So we can see kids 5 and up.
cool.
And imagine as a mom not having to take your child
Truly.
in,
Yeah.
and having a nurse come to your house and take care of your family. It's so much more than
And
just
have them be cozy. And
I mean, they're comfortable. People are always,
Yeah.
today I interviewed a new nurse, and she was like, the kid part though, I don't want to hold kids down. And I was like, I've never held a kid down in a home.
Yeah, because it's not like
It's
in
not
a scary space.
Yep, mom's right there.
Yep, they can
their
watch
blankets
TV.
right there. They've got their favorite snack.
Yep.
And your little girl, she was a year and a half old and was like, let me in on the thing. It's
I
like,
need to see what's going on.
she wanted to be in there. And
Yeah.
and when she sees mom doing it and it's a positive
Then it's
thing,
not scary
she doesn't
for her
see
to
it as
do it.
scary. And you can have those conversations,
Yeah.
but it's such a resource. And
That's so
we
cool.
change lives. I say that and it
Yeah.
sounds cliche and super corny, but I don't care. But we
you do.
see, I mean, we've got a 13-year-old girl that's got Angelman syndrome, nonverbal. Could you imagine parenting a
No.
preteen that can't even speak their emotions to you?
Yeah.
And had some big seizure activity come on, and her mom had tried medicines and doctors and all the things, and literally giving her body fluids and vitamins and replacing what she's losing when she does have that activity. She was able to go back to school. She now gets IVs every couple weeks, and it is what keeps her calm and keeps her sane and keeps her functioning. And that not only for the daughter, but for the mom, for the whole family. She's got other kids. It's cool to see what we do.
And I think part of that, like, I think every single nurse that I've had at our house is also a mom.
Yeah.
And I think like that gives them flexibility. They're like, this is like the best part because I
They
can,
love
yes,
it.
I can work these 4 hours today and that's what my availability is. And then they're able to like navigate their life around it. So I think it's like very cool in a job that doesn't generally have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah.
Like
Nursing.
you have to work
There's
these
12
long hour
yeah.
shifts and like it's crazy. So I think the ability for them to have flexibility and like seems like it's also not only changing like patients' lives, but like the people who are actually able to nurse and
we are changing the culture of nursing, and
Yeah.
that is
That's amazing.
hands down the coolest part of this I didn't see coming. I mean, fluids and vitamins are good for people.
Yeah.
You watch them in the ER light up in life again and change in 45 minutes when you give them fluids. But I had no idea I was going to have nurses, and I had no idea what it was going to do for nurses' lives. I have, out of the 35, I would say 30 of them, maybe more, have called me crying happy tears at some point. And
amazing.
every single one of them has relationships with the people that they service. They are fulfilled. Like, you're not walking into a room of someone that just had you're knocking on a door and they're like, oh my gosh, hi, you're here. Oh, can I get you water? Where do you want to sit? How do we do this? And nurses feel fulfilled. They feel impactful. They feel competent, and they feel empowered too. Like, you don't really have that much say in a hospital. You've got your parameters of what you can do, but you're not able to connect with your patients and really navigate what they need and how to care for them. And it's this beautiful blend of healthcare and hospitality.
Yeah, because it's relationship building. You're sitting with, I mean, it's like
you're an hour.
You're there for a while, and if it's like anymore, it's a lot of time. So, and I've never once been like, oh, this feels like the time goes by so quick, and it feels like you've got just like one of them came, and she was like, June was like obsessed with her, and she was like bringing her snacks. She was like showing her stuff, and then like I was like, okay, June, you've got to go take a nap. Like, we have to be out. And she was like, no, I need to go see my friend. So I feel like it's also just like one of those things where like you kind of become part of that day for that family. And if you have repeat visits, and I'm sure people build like their kind of
and you
clientele.
feel cared about. Like, someone is coming in not like annoyed with the fact that there's a kiddo running around. Like, they're embracing your baby and being like, it's okay, June, let's have dinner while mommy has
and like, I have to like, I'll open this for you or whatever.
We have nurses that now will carry a little baggie of dog treats in their backpack for the animals that we see, and we all have little fidgets and like squishy balls, and I can't tell you how many glove balloons with faces I've blown up in my life.
Get a couple of those.
But it's like, that's what care should be. And that's what, like, nursing, the core of it is caring about people.
You don't
we don't
get
get
into
to always
without.
do that when we're in the hospital system.
No, it's like been a cool thing to even like talk to people as they've done it. And like, I've had nurses that have come and been like, oh, I just do this like a day a week. And then some people where you can do, you could have that be your full-time job.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It is.
Lisseth, you're talking about these difficult things you've done in life and challenging with so much joy. My question is, was there a difficult period in your life, either your career or parenting, that you kind of remember, and what did it teach you?
I think both. I mean, we all have lots of difficult times in life. I think, parenting, I was a young mom. I was a young mom and very quickly a single young mom. And I've raised my kids literally on my own. There's lots of challenges with working while taking care of kids. As we know, motherhood, you learn every single day. And I think that there has been lots of difficulty, but in that, I give a lot of credit to my ER days. And being in healthcare, I feel like too, you choose how your situations impact you. And people used to ask me all the time, I used to get talked to, like, honored with my bedside manner, and the patients I would see, and people would ask, how are you always in such a good mood? You see such horrible stuff. And honestly, I have nothing to complain about. I mean, you see other people in the worst ways, and you see them on terrible days, and you see what they go through, and it puts your own life in perspective. And with my kids, I tell them all the time, it sounds, again, cliche, but I said to my daughter this morning, it'll repeat after me, everything will always be okay. And I tell my kids that all the time. And I think that having to, in a sense, survive some of those years, like, I didn't always have a lot of money. I was a single mom, and I was working all the jobs, and I was bringing my kids with, and making the best of the situations. I think my parents taught me a lot. My family came from Panama. I look at my dad and my mom. My mom grew up in Korea as a missionary kid, and went to school and lived life. And we had they had 4 kids under 4. Like, what in the heck were they thinking? We're still not sure. But they had 4 kids under 4, and they moved to a different country. My dad didn't even speak the language. He doesn't have not one relative here. Like, I think my childhood and growing up with parents that had to work hard. We came to Minnesota. We did not have a house. We didn't know where we were going to live. We literally pulled up into the state and found a house to rent. And there wasn't a lot of preparation. There wasn't a lot of ability to plan and make sure things are okay. So I think I've had to be okay. My kids 10,000% are my motivation in life. Showing them that you're going to be okay. And honestly, like my dad, we had this car. We have one car, and it was 6 of us, and we nicknamed it the brown shitter. So if that tells you anything about the quality of the vehicle, you could hear it start up from probably blocks away. And my dad would always be like, the car doesn't make the person makes the car. You could pull up in the nicest car in the world, and if you get out and you're an asshole, you're still an asshole. Or you could pull up in the worst car in the world, but if you get out and you're a good person, you're still a good person. And the person that you are means so much more than the vehicle you arrive in to your destination. And I think that has stuck with me. And, you know, my kids, you have to put on a happy face. Like my kids never saw me cry. They never saw me crumble. And that faking it almost until you make it. I mean, honestly, you just do it. And seeing them appreciate how hard I worked and know that I'm always there for them. And I have such close relationships with my kids. So like even I've raised them on my own, and it's been hard, and it takes a village. Like thank God for all the people around me that have been there and helped me and been a part of my life. But them being able, like looking at them and being like, they're okay and they're going to be okay, and pretending to be okay so they didn't know I wasn't okay made me almost be a little bit more okay. And so I think it's just been, I don't know. I mean, I think I've just learned to have a good perspective, and my life has been so unplanned that like anything that happens that's not planned, I'm like, okay, well, what are we going to do instead? You know, it's not like, oh shit, like the day's not ruined. Like, all right, well, we're going to figure it out then. And it's just been I don't know, my theme, I guess.
That's so cool.
I love that. You are very inspirational. And making me cry twice. I don't think I've...
That does not happen.
I just met you and I don't cry usually.
Yeah, good for you.
I'm a crier, so I'm surprised I haven't cried more.
But I feel like that is one of those things. And I guess as now you have a successful business and you have done so many cool things. Obviously your kids have seen a lot of your struggle and like your persistence and your grit as they've grown up. But like, how do you navigate that now where you're like, oh, my kids could have an amazing life. I could give them everything. How do you keep them like grounded and give them that, like, do you think about that? Or do you think it's like you've also shown enough?
I think they've seen that along the way for sure. But I think even now, like before we started, we were talking about how I don't know how to dress as a mother. Like this is my everyday. And when I have to wear anything except for my black scrubs, I'm like, what? Does this match? What am I doing here? I think that I am very simple still. Yeah. And there's like, I cook a lot. We don't, you know, I love to cook. I still have like the cultural roots of where I grew up. Yeah. And I don't live life in an extravagant way. I mean, I think every once in a while, like there's always, you know, a little room for bougie if you need to be, but, and you work hard, so. And luxury and like the hard work pays off. It really does. You have ability in life. You have the ability to take your kids places. But I feel like I'm still here for any kind of deal that's going on, and, you know, being strategic about things and teaching them, even if you have the ability. I've also, I think, always been somebody that has always helped other people in a sense of like my dad was a chef, and we're Panamanian. I grew up eating like pig's feet and cow's tongue, like weird stuff that my friends were like, yeah, we're going to go home for dinner. But then my dad would make spaghetti and the whole neighborhood would be lined up and he would feed them all. It didn't even matter. Like my house is your house. That like root of my culture, I think, has just kept me. That's something that I've instilled in my kids. Yeah. And they've seen that life always wasn't what it is now. Yeah. And you don't need, like, things are things, but who you are as a person and who you surround yourself with. I think I've stayed grounded in a sense of like, there's so much more value in quality versus quantity with the things that you have and the things that you focus on, and simple things. Like we just were on a vacation as a family, and one of the best nights for everybody was when we ordered a bunch of groceries and cooked a bunch of food like at the house, and all got to sit down together and talk about stuff. Like that's what they remember, and they remember the cool stuff too. We went on a cool boat in the ocean, and we, you know, did fun things and ate cool food, but we also went in and toured the city and went to literally someone's house to use the bathroom and went to like an old like broke down jail to see like the history of things. And so I try very hard to instill that in my kids, and my kids see me every day in sweatpants and t-shirts and not always needing to be in this space of success and things. So I don't know.
Well, and it's cool like that they did get to see you in every aspect of the journey. And I think that sometimes it's like you were saying, being able to like give back, like sometimes part of success, and if you've worked hard to get there, it's also like you can use that to be able to give back more.
And you
like,
can show them too that that's fulfilling.
That's what's
like the money coming into the bank and the company being
great, but like,
first on the list is great, but like how does it feel when you do something for somebody else because you have the ability to? And they like we all went back, we took a big family vacation trip, I should say, back to Panama, but they literally walked with me through the city to go to the laundromat. Like we took our clothes to the laundromat in the city, and they saw the way people live. They saw the schools that we went to as kids. They saw all of that. And I think experiences are so important, not just luxury experience, but like cultural experiences and seeing how different people live and learning that too has made a big impact on their life, and realizing sometimes when kids grow up with ability and with successful parents, they have no idea how great their life is.
Exactly.
Like, do you know what it could be? And do you know what some people live in? And do you know how some people have to function? They don't get to see the difference.
Exactly.
So I think showing them the contrast is huge.
And like the appreciation for it, because then, like they're probably not going to have to live their life like that, but like they can acknowledge like, hey,
I'm lucky
I've got it really
to not
good.
have to do that.
And just even like anyone in the United States has so much
privilege
comparatively. So I think that's like the cool ability of like being able to go and travel and do those things, and then like also show like the perspective of it, which is important.
Huge.
Do your parents still live close? And
They do.
Did your mom retire?
My mom will probably never stop working. She is this like, I always like, she's this blend of like Mother Teresa and Martha Stewart without the jail time. And like, she just is like, my mom is awesome. My mom's an awesome person. She still works some, doesn't work as much as she always did. But she's kind of set the tone for our work ethic. She always had a couple jobs. She was always doing cool stuff. She's super intelligent. My dad is retired fully. He has Lewy body dementia and COPD and stopped working, but he worked as a chef our whole life. And my mom worked as a PA. So she still does some things. She probably will never stop doing things, but she's technically retired and much more time at home and hanging out and enjoying life. But they live in Richfield, so not far.
Nice. So you have access to them.
Yeah. Does she ever help you with Dynamic Drips?
I actually had to make her do something when I was out of town just this past week because I couldn't get on the server to do anything out of the country. So I was like, I FaceTime my mom. I tell my kids all the time, you're still going to need your mom, even when you get older. But besides that, no, honestly, when I started my business, she was kind of like, okay, good luck there. And she has taken a very traditional path in medicine. She worked as a PA. She worked in family practice. She was an instructor and worked in teaching and did the PA thing, but hasn't gone outside of the box. So like the entrepreneurship, I have no idea where that comes from. It's, I've never seen it happen, but she has taken a very traditional path in her career in medicine and has been super successful too. But when I started, she was like, all right, well,
what is this going to look like? What's the
I
safety net?
hope it goes well for you. Good luck. And then I will never forget the first IV my mom had when she had a migraine. And the bag wasn't even done. And she's like, my head feels better. And I was like, are you asking? Telling that your head feels better. And she's like, no, my head feels better. And she was going on an international trip. And she was leaving the next day and was like, I have this horrible migraine and I have to get on a plane. It's not going to go away. And I was like, I bet you it will. And that was like her turning point. And since then, she's like, you need an IV and you need an IV and you need an IV. And she's now the biggest believer I've got. But It took her a while, which rightfully
Yeah.
so. I think it's scary to see your kids do
It
things
is.
that you've never done too.
Yeah.
And like my goal as a mom is to raise each of my kids to be just a little bit better than me in whatever way.
Yeah.
And they start doing things and you're like, well, hold on, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
stop
You're
doing
like, that
that. What if you
doesn't seem
fail?
like
And then what
yeah.
if I don't know. But I think that's the feeling that she had. It was just kind of new and like,
Yeah.
what the heck? And she's not seen that in her family or in her life. But now she's a believer.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. Do you think any of your kids would join the business? Or like, do they
my
do anything?
son, actually, my oldest, he is 22 and he manages all the supply chain and inventory.
Okay.
So he is the one, the man behind the scenes that is filling the orders of the nurses, making sure that they all have their supplies fulfilled and are ready to go, and managing the inventory system. He also started his own business.
Yeah.
And
that entrepreneur.
yeah,
know,
and
it's
has a line of car care products. Loves cars. Drives cool cars.
Cool.
I have a cool car because my kids have cool cars, and I don't know much, but I get like these young kids like will pull up next to me, like rev their engine, and I'm like, I'm somebody's mom. I don't do street racing.
My son
my
bought
car
this.
looks cool, but I didn't pick it out, so just carry on. Like but he loves cars, so it started with him actually delivering supplies to nurses, and then now we have a warehouse and headquarters, and so he manages all of that, and he started a business that is car care products. So they've got 2 lines of towels and like glass cleaners, and he contracts and sells to detail shops. So it's pretty cool to see him, like go off on his own journey and do something that he really cares about. Like nursing and vascular access has been my core, and he has always been a car kid from the first time he could drive. He's always been interested in cars and driven cool cars and bought cars, and so now he's in his own little entrepreneur journey, and it's cool to see him go and to see him, like, there's days when I'm like, it'll get better. These days are hard and it's terrible here, but you know what, something's gonna happen tomorrow and it's gonna all be worth it. And then something does, and he's like, all right, okay, I get it. So yeah.
And I think teaching them that like work ethic, and not even like that work ethic in like that they're going to work really hard in a specific path, but just like the entrepreneurship. And like, I think, like you said, your parents weren't in that. And I think of kids of entrepreneurs, like growing up seeing their parents as an entrepreneur is like a gift that like you can't even like imagine, because seeing like what is possible and like, hey, I like this, so I could actually like make money doing this, where I like grew up not entrepreneurial parents, and
understanding that you don't have to take the traditional path.
Exactly.
Like there's so much pressure on kids that like you get done with school, you're supposed to really like school, which school is terrible. High school sucks. It's the worst times of your life. People are assholes and nobody's nice. And then you kind of get low when the people that were mean in high school grow up to, you're like, oh, so they weren't the coolest kid on the block after all. But they treated everybody. So, you know, it's just a mix of emotions and growth. And you're supposed to get done and go to college and be in a 9-to-5 job and provide for your family. And it shows them that there's so many different ways to be successful.
Exactly.
Like I tell my kids all the time, as long as you are a good person, you have good morals, and you're happy. I don't care if you're a janitor. I don't care if you move to Hong Kong and run a small business making bolts. I don't care if you're the president of the United. Whatever you're doing, I want you to be happy in it, and I want you to be a good person and have good morals. And they don't feel the pressure. They know, you know, I'm going to figure out what I'm doing. I don't even think kids know who they are when they graduate high school. And you're supposed to go be a human and a grown up and be in that world. And for a lot of kids that works out, but there's also so many other ways, so many other paths to take that it shows them everything will be okay.
Were you adamant about college for your kids?
I haven't been. And I think that is a blend of things. I want them to do what they want to do. I think it's important. They're all super intelligent. Like my oldest is so into like history and like knows so much that like he said something to me last week about some historical time. And I looked at him and he's like, you don't know what I'm talking about. And I was like, I didn't really pay that much attention in history class.
Like, I'll just take your word for it.
I haven't really looked into it because it hasn't really been something I've been interested in. But I went to school before I went to nursing school because I didn't know what I was going to do. And that was just what I was supposed to do. So I literally went and got a whole degree and then was like, I don't think I want to do that. Dang it. Now I have to start over and now I have to do all this other stuff. And I figured out what I really wanted to do. They all, besides the 13-year-old, my kids, my 2 boys have a job. They both work really hard. They both function well. And my one son might go into real estate. So there's like certifications and things in that. I've also always driven home. You can always go back to school. You can, like, school is important and it's really necessary for some careers. If you want to go into something where school is something you need to get there, then 100% let's do it. Let's figure it out. But you also don't have to decide that right now. Like, he's 22. And even in nursing school, I had women that were moms that were 50 that were coming back and had been a stay-at-home mom.
It's so expensive in America.
It's so
my
expensive.
gosh,
You know how much student
So
loans
then
weigh people
And I
down?
grew up, I'm a European. It's a completely different
Yeah.
ballgame. If you were like really good grades,
Yep.
the government might choose you and pay for you
Yeah.
completely. Or it's like cheap.
Yeah.
Where here
It's not.
you end
And
up with this
to have
insane
like the
debt.
weight of debt. And those are the things.
And then you're like, oh, I didn't even want to do this, really.
Yeah, you didn't even want to. You did it because, and like the dorms, and it's good experience, a lot of it, but I haven't been super stickler. I have more, honestly, be sure of what you want to do before you start doing it. And then when you figure it out, if school's a part of that, then we figure out school. And if it's not, that's okay too. There's so many entrepreneurs and founders, and even like my brother, he works for Fidelity and he is one of their top financial advisors. He lives in Texas, but has never gone to college. Started entry level, walked by a meeting one day and is like, those guys look important, I got to get one of their jobs one day, and started asking questions, and now is managing millions of dollars for these super successful people that did all these things, and he's got just as much knowledge and expertise as the guy in the office next to him. So it's like, you just never know where your path is. And I feel like there's so much pressure on kids for so much right now in life. Letting them also have autonomy, as long as they're not making stupid decisions, letting them feel fulfilled and empowered to be sure of things for themselves. It teaches them to not always look at somebody else for what should I do. You know what I mean? Like navigating through those decisions, as opposed to your parents being like, you're done with high school, you're going to college, then you're doing this, these are the jobs you need to apply for, this is what you need to do.
And it's like, it doesn't teach, I feel like with the biggest thing, even like seeing kids come out of college now and like employing people who are young, it's like the critical thinking. And it's like, I don't think that was in me when I was 24 or whatever age you graduate college. And I think that's like the hardest thing to teach. And then people are coming out, like you said, with like so much debt, and then you're also like, well, then I still have to get a job that maybe I don't even want because
I'm not fulfilled in.
I just have to pay this loan. And then I feel like it's just like this cycle. So I'm curious to see like if the college conversation starts to change a little bit, because I think there are probably going to be more parents who are like okay with it. But I think that so many people have been like, okay, you just have to do this, and the schools push it too. They do. They're like, well,
they
here's
also
the 4 colleges you can go to.
Don't teach life skills.
Yes.
Like they don't teach money management.
Nope,
So like
no
go
taxes,
to school, get 80 grand in loans, and then we're not going to tell you at all how to figure out how to pay for that.
Maybe sign up for a
like,
credit card.
You know what I mean? Like if in high school they taught you how to like make informed decisions and decide those things and navigate those things, it would be a lot easier. But I think a lot of kids wouldn't go right to school too, because they would understand like, and my 17, 18, he's a grown up. My 18-year-old works a ton, finished high school early because he hated it, literally hated school. And I was like, well, we got to do it. Like the one thing I do want you to do is graduate high school. And I hated school too, but nursing school, because I wanted to be there, was totally different. But I mean, he works, he's got like 10 grand just hanging out in his bank account and saving up money to do things. And it's like having the work ethic and then figuring out what you want to do. He can work the job he's working and continue to save money while he's going to school. And he's already got that to fall back on. So it's like sometimes you reverse the plan and it turns out that you're more prepared than you thought you were in the first place.
I think like a little bit more of like a unique path is going to be, because I also think it's like school's just getting more and more expensive. And I'm like, I think at a certain point it's going to
and school is losing value. Teachers don't want to teach. They're not
with
happy.
AI, it's like you can just search.
They're not happy to be there and they don't want to be there, and it's hard. And like some rightfully so. I mean, it's not a great environment sometimes, but being fulfilled in life, as long as, you are making the money in a legal way. Like, you don't want to be like, however you can pay your bills.
Yeah, whatever it is.
But as long as as long as you're working hard and making an income and you're not running yourself into debt or not being able to pay for your house or uphold your lifestyle, you'll figure out what you want to be. I feel like my oldest stepdaughter, Sydney, I tell her all the time, she doesn't know who she is yet. I'm like, you're getting there though, because I swear between like 27 and 32, you figure out even like who you like to be around as people and quality versus quantity. Like I don't need to be the coolest person in the room. I need to have a couple really good people that are on my team that are going to vouch for me. But those are the years you figure out who you are. And you figure out what fulfills you. And you figure out, and she now is working a job that she makes great money. She's got, she lives in Arizona. She's got a great life. But she just last week was like, I'm just not like fulfilled. I know I want to do something more. Okay. And she went to school for 4 years and may end up in a totally different field. And so many of those degrees go towards absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Because you do it before you figure out who you even are and what you even like. So.
And everything changes so fast too. Like even, people getting marketing degrees or like business degrees. Yeah. How can you ever teach all of that anyway? And then by the time you graduate 4 years later, you're like, it's completely
strategy's different.
Everything
is different.
And it's like, I always laugh at the degree in like entrepreneurship. It's like, you went to school that always like makes me laugh. But
when you meet people too, like these people that have started these huge companies that are like world renowned, never went to college a day in their life. And you're like, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Oh, but you know so much, and you realize that that's not, it's important, it's good, but it's not a necessity to be a successful human. Success is not necessarily measured by your grades.
Exactly.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
We have some fun questions.
Okay, here we go.
We've been asking all our guests, is there something you just stopped apologizing for? Because that's not important.
Being late.
All right.
So, but let me tell you why. Because, and there's studies on this, people that are, I'm not like sloppy late. I'm not like, I was here.
You were
I was
a minute early.
Like,
I was like starting my phone and
a few minutes early, and I helped the FedEx girl upstairs too. So I would have been like 5 minutes early. But I realize, and there is actual evidence that people that are chronically in a hurry or running behind are the most optimistic people, because the way I'm like reading these things and hearing these things, and I'm like, that's me. That's totally me. You think you can I think I can conquer the world. Yeah. And if I look at the clock and I'm like, I still have 15 minutes before I have to walk out the door, I'm like doing laundry and dishes and sending emails and organizing this. And that's awesome. I truly believe that I can do all this shit in 15 minutes. And then you look at the clock again, and you're like, just kidding, it's been 18 minutes and I gotta go. Yeah. But it's not because you're just, you don't care. It's not because you're careless. It's because you really do have a good outlook, and you really do try to just make the most of your time. I've also realized like delays too in the business world. I used to feel like I had to email everybody back like right away. And then I can't tell you how many times people have texted me like, oh my God, I didn't hit send. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't get back to you in a week. I'm so sorry. I've been so busy. And it's like, everyone's busy too. Yeah. And so it's okay. It's okay to not right away be right on top of all the things. It's okay. So I've given myself a lot of grace and stopped saying I'm sorry, like when I send emails and it's been a few days, or when I forget texts. I've stopped saying I'm so sorry, and I've started saying thank you so much for your patience, or like thanking people for like thanks so much for your patience with my response, or thank you so much for your patience with me getting here on getting here when I was supposed to be here 3 minutes ago. But just appreciating that people are okay with the delay instead of being sorry for it.
I love that.
Part of me always thinks like, is that how you grew up? Because I grew up, a woman can be late 7 to 15 minutes, and everybody
I
will
would like
wait.
to be a part of your family. Then. That's good. I'm going to use that. Like, let me tell you about European culture. Yeah. We need a little bit more time. That's fair.
That's true. And also it's like in those 7 to 15 minutes, it's generally like because we're doing other things for other people.
We're taking care of someone else. We're trying to be great. Yeah. So, excuse me. I was trying to be great.
Exactly.
Maybe that'll be my new line. Sorry, I'm late. I was trying to be awesome.
No, I love that. Thank you for your patience.
I got great.
Yeah.
Was there anything cool you bought that was under $100 and you're like, I wish I had it earlier?
Under $100 that I wish I would have had earlier. Honestly, that water bottle right there. I preach hydration, and I drink a ton of water. And it is so hard to find a good water bottle. That has been under $100. That's been super valuable.
What is it? Is it here?
It's a hydro. I don't know. It probably is a little beat up. It says it on top. It's big. It says it's a hydro jug. But it doesn't leak. This flips down.
You can throw it in your bag.
I can literally throw it in my bag, and it's gigantic, and probably could be used as a weapon if I think about it here. Yeah. Like,
Does the Stanley, lid or the thing comes out?
This comes up. Yep. It's got a straw. All the pieces come apart, so it doesn't like do the icky straw thing. You can wash it, but you can literally close it, and I can like toss it in the seat of my car, and it fits in cup holders. And probably the water bottle I've valued the most. And I've gone through a lot of water bottles. I don't know if your house is like mine, but we have this cabinet.
Yeah.
It's like the graveyard for all the pieces that have come off that we don't know what goes with what. And
We think that we're gonna do the like gallon of water, like jug, and
the jug like that the gym bros carry. Yeah. So this water
I think
bottle
you deserve a brand partnership
is
from
my
them
hydro
for
jug.
that.
I think it's called hydro jug.
Yeah.
Something like
I
that.
think you're right.
But yeah.
I like it.
Is
That's my
there
pick.
something that you wish your husband knew?
I wish my husband knew, like, about me or just in
About you,
general.
about life, or about living with you?
How long have you guys been married?
We have been married about 2 years.
2 years.
Together almost 5.
Okay.
We both were. I wish my husband knew something. So I had this business when I met him. He is in the business world. He has done amazing things with his life, and from day one, he was like, "You're sitting on a diamond." Like he when I met him, he was like, "Who told you how to do this? Like, who told you that you should do this that way?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, who's your mentor in business?" And I was like, "I'm supposed to have a mentor?" And and I thought he was just trying to butter me up because he tried to date me for a while, and I had warded off men and was going to be determined to stay single for the rest of my life. I owned a house, I had an awesome career, my kids were happy, I was fine, I didn't need anybody, so I thought. And he would tell me how great my business was, and constantly, and I thought he was just trying to blow smoke up my ass to date me. And I think he really meant it, but I don't think he realizes how much that, even though I was trying, he nicknamed me the Heisman, the defensive trophy of the year. Yeah, he used to call me Heisman because I tried to ward him off. But I wish he knew, which maybe I'll go home and tell him, how much that did give me belief in myself.
I
When
love
he
that.
would say that all the time, and like I would go home and be like, "This dude's trying to date me. Like, does he really mean it?" But then I'm like, you know what? I guess he wouldn't, like, he's in the business world. Like, why would he tell me I'm doing something good if I wasn't? And it made me keep going and believe in what I was creating a lot more than I think I've ever told him.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
we'll
That's
go
a
with that.
great.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So it was flattering, but that was actually true.
Yeah, it is. So.
Awesome. Well, any final advice, or also how can people sign up to get a drip?
An IV. Well, everyone should try it. They can go to our website, dynamicdrips.com, or follow us on Instagram. I feel like it's so important to see
yes.
real people doing the things. Like yes, we've got needles. It sounds a little scary, but it's not. It's so comforting, and there's so much value to it. And there's not a person. I get asked all the time, like, the marketing world. I get asked all the time, like, what's your target market? And I literally am like, I don't know. Everyone. If a child is sick, it's just know you have a resource out there. And check out the website, check out the Instagram, and just get a little bit more of a grasp, seeing real people do it, seeing the why behind it. But
And you guys do like IVs, beats, like do you do?
we have 12
Shots?
different infusions,
Yep.
all blends of vitamins and fluid, and then we have some add-ons and injections as well. We have a bunch of stuff we can give just as an injection too, so like much lower
Good way to
price
get started,
point.
too.
Yeah, much less time commitment. We can give B12. We have an immune boost injection that literally will nix your symptoms.
That's what
Like
I've
if you feel the gunk coming on, 5 minutes of your life, you can get a shot in your arm, and it is vitamin C, zinc, and glutathione.
Okay.
All things that literally just give your body like a backpack to go to war with, and your symptoms will subside faster, and they will not come on as severe as if you didn't have the ammo. We can give biotin, like women.
Oh, cool.
With your hair. I don't know if you lost your hair after you had babies, but
yes.
you feel like your hair is so great.
Yes, we did,
And then the
yes.
babies come and you're like, my hair went with it. What happened?
yeah.
You get the bald spots.
Totally.
People's hair fall out from COVID. People just want shinier.
yes,
Your
that's true.
skin, like there's the biotin, when you take it orally, your face breaks out because it's like filtering.
So
and when
much,
we put it into your bloodstream, it's not processed through your belly. There's not all those additives. It's 100% absorption.
Oh, cool.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
That's
so we
amazing.
can give NAD is like up and coming. You've done NAD.
I
haven't?
I
Tim
haven't.
has.
Tim
Okay.
loves
Tim
that.
loves it.
Yes.
Loves the NAD, but that
He's
is
like, turn it up. I can drip. Like, I
What
can do
does
it
that-
way
you're like,
quicker. I'm like,
no.
Could you interpret that? What does that mean?
So NAD, nicotinamide, adenosine, a dinucleotide. It is a big long I said that backwards.
Somewhat
too, Nick.
familiar,
Yeah. But it's an enzyme, and it's coined the miracle molecule.
Okay.
I like to teach and educate in a human way. So think about a peanut M&M, right? That's what every cell is. It's got a core in the middle, and it's got some stuff around it, and it's kind of shaped like that. That peanut M&M is called the mitochondria. That peanut, that core of that cell, that's where every cell in your body gains its energy to do its job. So some of your cells, their job is to keep your skin tight. That's why as we age, we start to wrinkle. Those cells get fatigued. That's why our joints get achy, because the cells that are supposed to keep our joints functioning and moving smoothly, they get fatigued and they use all their energy. That energy is very hard to replace. When you take NAD orally, you only absorb about 10% of what you're taking in. And when we put it into your bloodstream, either injection or infusion, the infusions take a few hours. They are long and slow and slow. You have to introduce it to your body in a certain way. But the injection is quick. And it is one of the only things that can actually replace that energy level in that cell. So every cell, no matter what it's supposed to do, you lose it as you age. You don't have a store or a reserve, and you don't keep making it. But we can replace it for you. And a lot of people say that they sleep like a baby. They have more energy throughout the day. They wake up less crispy and crunchy. Like, I don't know how many times you put snooze on your alarm, but some mornings and
being pregnant too.
You want to get out of bed sooner. You don't get fatigued in the afternoon, more mental clarity. People just feel really good. So
Amazing.
it's like
Sounds
the anti-aging.
I'm gonna be making an appointment.
Yeah.
100%.
I love it. So get in touch, and I feel like
touch.
it's and it's nice because then you'll kind of like say what you need.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to always know like exactly what you're.
You just tell us
you're like,
what
hey,
your
this is how I
complaints are
feel.
in life. What's
And
wrong? How can we fix you? How can we help you?
And they might just chat with you and hang out with your kids and make you feel better.
Yeah. 100%.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was a super fun combo.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Learned a lot about you. You're a killer. I love it.
I know, that's amazing. I just kept thinking,
Do what I can.
where is this coming from? Yeah.
I don't
this
know
is
where it
awesome.
comes from. It just comes.
It's just a good genetic code.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining us on the Best for Your Nest podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode.